Welcome back to Big Boss Mare with Brandy Von Holten. Today, I have a special guest. Her name is Sarah Leonhard, and she is here with Purina. She actually has 2 job titles with Purina. She's an associate sales manager and a farm consultant team leader. Yay. Hey, welcome to Big Boss Mare. Okay, so Sarah, you're I always start off with what model you are. Okay, you're a good-looking 1963. Okay, so Sarah, tell us about K-State.
Oh, man, that seems so long ago. Holy cow. It was great. I am a Wildcat. I'm from Kansas, so I got to be a K-Stater. So I feel like that was my foundation. Of course, back in that day, we were only there for 4 years, so we were in and out pretty quick and on the job roll right out of K-State. And started with Farmland Industries, which is a cooperative, right out of K-State. Worked at some elevators. Spent a lot of time working with dairy folks right out of college, doing a lot of dairy nutrition. That's teach you a lot about nutrition, all species, let me tell you.
Go backwards, and you said a cooperative. Okay, so let's break it down because I have such a wide range of people that listen. What is a cooperative?
So, you hear about your rural electric cooperative where you have ownership in the cooperative, and then there's potential for patronage, if you will. Sometimes I'm trying to think of a cooperative that would be very
So does that mean
familiar.
that it's not owned? It's not owned by a company. It's more like owned by the people.
Correct.
And then they pay back a dividend check.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So a cooperative, for people that don't understand those, we have something like our mortgage here for our ranch is with FCS Financial. Okay, so FCS, we have a set interest rate, and then at the end of the year, after they've paid all of their bills and they've done swag for all of their all of their clients at like the Missouri State Fair, and they've paid their employees, and after everything's good, that money that's left over, they divide it out amongst their people. Yep. So for us with FCS Financial, we end up getting basically a mortgage payment free each year. Yeah. It whenever you divide it out, we're here for education purposes. Our interest rate on our facility is, I think it's a set 4%, but with the amount of money we get back from our dividend check, they said it's basically 1%. So that's equal to paying 3%, which is great for especially larger farm loans.
Absolutely. We're actually kind of jumping ahead. Now, Purina that I work for is owned by Land O'Lakes, and it's the largest farmer-owned cooperative in North America. So
Land O'Lakes.
Land O'Lakes, you hear.
Land O'Lakes.
Yeah, like the butter people.
The butter.
We call ourselves a butter people. And Purina is the feed division for Land O'Lakes. They also have crop production, Winfield Solutions, just different farmer-owned facets. We have dairy foods division, and then, of course, the dairy production division. So if you're in the upper Midwest, you see it in grocery stores more than you see it here in Kansas and Missouri.
Okay. Go back to the one that was about wind. So what was that section?
Winfield Solutions.
Winfield Solutions. Is that just the ones that are harvesting energy?
No, actually.
Like turbines?
It sounds like that. But no, Winfield Solutions is crop production.
Okay.
So seed and chemical and just, help farmers enhance the yield and profitability of their farm ground.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got to most definitely feed America here, and
absolutely.
there's a lot of people, so it's a whole bunch of food. So we got to make sure that we do produce just as much as we can.
Absolutely.
But then you got to put things back into the soil because we don't want our food to be nutrient
deficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want it to be dense. I want a whole bunch of stuff to be in my food. I want all the vitamins in the world.
That's right.
So, okay, you ended up graduating with what kind of degree?
I'm actually ag econ, agriculture economics with a minor in animal science, and again, went to work at a feed mill and enjoyed the livestock aspect of it and the nutrition particularly, and then became a livestock production specialist for farmland, and then that's morphed into what I do now, 30-some years later.
Okay, so I'll tell you. So this is just women in general in agriculture, okay? So now, I mean, back in the day, all the vets were just older gentlemen, okay? Mm-hmm. And now all the vets are young girls. Young ladies, it seems like, one of the ladies that I interviewed on here, I mean, she's running a huge amount of cattle on a huge amount of land. I mean, her name's Fauna. I mean, and she just loves it. And then my assistant is an ag teacher. She's actually an ag teacher. And so...
Oh, that's excellent.
Well, yeah, I mean, she just talked about perfect for being, brought on for us. But ladies in the agriculture...
we're gaining steam. I can tell you, when I started in the business, I was one of, back in the day, we'd go to meetings and there'd be 200 men and me.
Yep, and that's what I was expecting you to say is you were somebody that was laying down those original paver stones for us.
And it's crazy. I'm working on a promotion right now to incentivize some of our salespeople, and we're working on wearable items, which seems like, well, that's no big deal, but back in the day, they didn't even make women's wearable items for us because there wasn't enough women to do it. So we just wore men's shirts around. And now we get our own sex of clothes. Wow. Who knew?
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I love a good uniform. You know how most people are like, oh, a uniform. And I remember whenever I was in school, I was like, oh, I don't want a uniform. I beg for a uniform now because then I don't have to put any effort into what I'm wearing.
You don't have
just
to think about it.
Boom, that's what I'm wearing. Yeah. So, and you know what? Women now, they want a V-neck shirt. Yeah. They don't want a regular T-shirt. And so I was always so nervous about going to a V-neck here, but ladies, y'all are some shoppers. Yeah. Y'all know what you want. Yeah. You're tired of the circular neck. You want a V-neck.
That's right.
And I hate a V-neck. I do not know why. And I'm one of the, I guess, the old school people. I don't like the big swoop down neck. Oh, yeah. You know what? Okay, so we're gonna take a little moment and talk about some women's clothing for a little bit, okay? Because I'm large chested, okay? That's like an undersaid word, okay? But boy, people used to show some cleavage. Have you noticed that that's kind of went away?
It has, except it kind of seems like it's creeping up the other side.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know what? And the see-through leggings have gotten better. It seems like people are improving upon those. But man, I don't know. For whenever I was in the mid-90s and stuff, it just seemed like if you weren't showing a bunch of cleavage, then you just weren't dressing. But now it's just not that way. I just don't see a bunch of cleavage anymore. Yeah. Not unless it's just somebody just being...
going to the bar or
something
date night, something like that.
I don't know. It seems like we've just covered up a little bit more.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, I always, I used to be a school teacher, and I would tell people that modest is hottest. And then I would tell them that Christmas is a lot more fun whenever the presents are wrapped. Anyways. Yep. So, all right. So you have 2 children, and they both work with cattle?
Yep. My daughter and her son-in-law and my son and his wife are all involved in our cattle operation. And my husband took early retirement for actually a local utility. It's Evergy now, but it was KPNL and Westar at the time, and how they've morphed over the years. Anyway, so we run a bunch of cows. We have cows of our own. We also, like I told you before we got on air here, we have a recip herd, and we do embryo transfer. So we have a service that we provide folks that want to really get after and accelerate that genetic foot feed, if you will, and have some babies quicker than Mother Nature would allow them to do. So we can do that for those folks. And
so, all of the words that you just said is cloning, right? No, you have the embryo, or you have the carrier mother for cloning?
Yeah. We're not cloning. We're just flushing the cow. She produces the eggs. We put the eggs in the recipient cow or the surrogate mom, whatever you want to call her. And we just pray that she settles, and then once she settles, we manage her. And each owner of the eggs, if you will, have a different set of expectations how long we keep the cow. But typically we keep the cow for 3 or 4 months after the egg is settled and it's growing and it's developing a fetus, and she's well on her way and safe to travel. And then we ship them to the owner, and they calve their own calf or fetus,
right.
and we go to the next bunch of embryos.
Okay. You know what? And I could just imagine that cow being like, I know I haven't been fooling around. I know I haven't. Where is this baby coming from? You know?
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
man.
Yeah.
Or I could see her talking to her boyfriend and be like, I did not fool around on you. I promise. I don't know. I could just see the cow saying something funny. You know, that's where my weird little mind goes.
You know, what we see, and I certainly appreciate what you're saying, but we see cows that we get through our program that are recips, they're surrogates, and they're going to go on to their new owners, you know, to be a mother for them. But we get some cows that are such good mama cows.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, gosh, dang it, I wish we could keep her around because she's not trying to eat anybody's lunch. She's a nice cow, and we could use more of her, you know.
Right. We love our mama cows. We have a very small herd. I mean, it's almost embarrassing whenever I have these podcast interviews with real cattle people, because we have 10.
That's okay.
I mean, but we, we sell to some individuals that want to buy a calf, and then we sell them the whole calf, and we, they take it to the slaughter for them. So they get to have great food, and they know that it was fed well.
Right.
I mean, it's just wonderful.
Right,
but we love some of our cows. I mean, I named some of them. One of them had a white face but a black eye, and I called her Sucker Punch. It's like somebody just popped right in the eye. Then we had one named Mama Line Graph, because Mama Line Graph, it looked like a line graph going up her face. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Then we had one named Heavy D. Now, Heavy D, we couldn't tell when she was pregnant and when she wasn't, because she was so short and so fat all the time. Yeah. And she had, girl, I promise, she had 2 lazy eyes. Like they were going in different directions. But Heavy D was the best mama. We loved Heavy D. Gosh,
awesome.
Her belly that belly had to be less than 12 inches from the ground. Like her legs forgot to grow. Her babies never looked like her. She was a good producer, but she was pretty hideous. But I sure did love Heavy. And we can pet every one of our cows.
Disposition is key. I tell you, we have EPDs, and now disposition is getting the
EPD.
Expected progeny differences. So
okay, yeah, girl, that was not in my vocabulary bank. Say again, EPD. What does it stand for?
Expected progeny differences. I'm getting my tongue tied.
Okay, so what is that?
Basically, each breed has different sets of standards, and we encourage it's kind of benchmarks, if you will, within each breed. And so and you've picked the wrong person to ask very much about genetics, but I'm telling you that there's calving ease, birth weight, weaning weight, all of the things that we select genetics for. Right. And now we're saying, you know what? Disposition is important.
Oh, yeah,
we think it
definitely
is. And so now we're saying, okay, what's the EPD for her disposition, if you will?
So it's like a measurement.
It is. And so like if, as an example, you're breeding for a show steer, you're looking for big top, big bone, wide set structure, that kind of thing. If you're breeding for a longhorn cow, you're probably looking for hoof integrity and hoof quality and horn growth and that kind of thing. I'm making this up, but my point is they're traits that you select on, and you can measure them by. It's like registration papers with a horse. They follow along, and they're like, oh, here's her EPDs.
So I used to be a science teacher, and in minerals we have different hardnesses. Okay, so that's like I think it's the Mohs hardness scale, right? With a diamond being a 10. Okay, so this just sounds like the Karen scale. We got a nice Karen, like a Karen 1. Okay, she's a good girl, and then we got a Karen 10. Now, a Karen 10 would not be something you would not want to pass those characteristics down.
But you might breed Karen 10 to the bull that's a 1 and get a 5.
Yeah. Oh, and then that would be wonderful. Yeah. My mare, Glamour, it's short for Glamour with the Hammer. That's my, I used to do full contact fighting, and my fight name was Glamour with the Hammer. Glamour would be a Karen 11, but I love her Karen-ness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have horses?
I do. I get to work with them professionally with Purina, but I also get to enjoy them on the weekends. And my daughter and I barrel race and travel to do that. We enjoy it and enjoy the company that we get to meet along the way and just the fun we have.
So I will tell you, with your stature and how you've got big fancy words and stuff, I expect that you've got some good horsemanship. I expect that you're going so fast that you got tears running down the side because I bet you know what you're doing.
Well, there's other people that know a lot more than I do, but I try.
You try?
I try.
So what are some things that you've won? What's some stuff you, like, tell me pre-COVID.
Oh, my. Well, I recently just got a 3-year-old, and I'm really focusing on her. So I didn't have her pre-COVID. I got her during COVID. And
was that a wonderful thing to get to spend that extra time with her?
Oh, my gosh, it sure was. We got the opportunity to spend time with all of our horses and the cows, too. But during COVID, COVID had its ups and downs, but that definitely was one of the ups for sure. But now we're breeding some horses, and we hope to have some good genetics that's going to run fast here in 2 or 3 years. And I had recently became a grandma, and so I passed up the opportunity to go to BBR, which is in Oklahoma City in 2 weeks, and that's always kind of like, you know, the goal each year is to go to BBR and be successful down there. But there's so many horses. I mean, heck, last year when I was there was over 2,500 horses that were running in the same race. So, I mean, like, you know, so it's personal accomplishments. You know what I mean? Like, you ask what I've won, and I say, well, you know, I can be in the 2D, I can be in the 1D, I can be in the 3D, you know, on any given day. You know, I don't love, you know, but sometimes your bad run is a win. You know what I mean?
Oh,
in
yeah.
a weird sort
definitely.
of way, it is like a lot of good things happened. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I know some of my biggest accomplishments. There's nothing for it. I mean, the fact that we have 5 animals in our herd, and they're so different. I mean, they are so different, but each one of them is successful. I mean, I have a Tennessee Walker mule that she's a giant, but then her self-esteem is a cricket.
oh,
Okay, she's so cute. And then I have a Missouri Foxtrotter mule that if he was a cartoon character, he would be Pepe Le Pew, trying to talk to all the ladies, okay? I even have a Latigo. I had a custom Latigo made for him that I bought from this chick on Facebook, but it's got like 1950s pinups on the Latigo because he's such a ladies' man. And people, I forget about it because it's just a joke, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I got that's my boy right there, old JoJo. He's pretty cool. He would probably have like one of those Al Capone hats on and wear a suit and be trying to talk to some girl if he was a human, and he's Pepe Le Pew if he was a cartoon character.
that's cool.
And then Coco, that big mule I was telling you about, she would be just a little mouse in the corner. She would be somebody's lap dog that just shakes and pees because it's just so timid. But she's but she gets bravery from me. But if I put a rider on her that's not confident, she won't do anything for him because she has to pull that confidence from her human.
Yeah.
And then we have an Appaloosa, and I make fun of my husband. I call her our Crapaloosa, but everybody's like, you should breed her. And I was like, oh, so we can get some more crooked hips and another back that's a little bit swayed. I mean, why would we ever breed that? And they're like, for the spots. And I was like, oh, no, those spots. Oh, no. If she was just brown, they would realize how hideous she is. Yeah. But with them spots, they're like, man, she's beautiful. And I'm like, you know what? Every pot's got a lid, you know, and there's your lid. But her name's Peppercorn. Peppercorn's 19, and my goodness, she has had so many children and adults fall in love with horses because of being around her. And you know what's so funny about Peppercorn is she makes milk. We've had her checked out by the vet, and she got one big old booby and then one regular booby. Like, one's about a D cup, and the other one's like A+, okay? Yeah. But we've put orphan foals on her.
She's a good mom.
And she's just like, that's my baby. That's my baby. We're like, that's not your baby. But, you know,
That's excellent.
Oh, yeah. It's been really helpful. And then plus during our kids camps, like I have 18 kids camps this year. We keep them from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and we do 5 different things. One of those things is ride horses, but we also groom them, and then I show them everything. Like, so there's peppercorn, and they're like, whoa, they're different sizes. And I'm like, they sure are.
Oh, yeah.
And then I teach them how to milk her. I mean, just because, and she's like, thank goodness, get that out of there.
So how often do you have the camps?
Girl, last year we had 12 and they were busting at the seams, but it's just a whole day. I keep them from 9 to 4. I'm not keeping kids overnight. I don't want no part of that.
Sure.
But I have them 18. I have 18 kids camps this year.
Wow. That's amazing.
Well, and this year we, with my husband's business, with like the wood shop, with the 5 things, we're also incorporating wood shop into it, and they get to build with him. So I have all sorts of different kids camps. We got one that's called exploratory. That should be called glorified babysitting. Okay, so that's just the fun one. You know, that's like anybody can come to it. They don't really care. It's just a flavor of the day. Okay, so then we have an exploratory, but it's a 2-day course, because the project that my husband does with him and with them is it's going to take 2 days to do it. So they have to sign up for both. You know, like one day they might sand, and then the next day they'll probably put it together.
Right.
Or they might put it together and it has to dry, and then the next day they might polyurethane or something. So it's a 2-day project. So we have that. So just the regular one, the 2-day one. Then I have this online horsemanship course that I've been teaching, or for students that have come back and they're ready for like actual horsemanship, I have a level 1. So that one they've got to be approved. They've got to either take an online course, or they have got to be one of the students that graduated out of the other ones.
I see.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a level 1. And then I have another one that's, it's kind of in between the exploratory and the level 1, but they just have an intermediate woodshop project. It's not a 2-day one, but it's not little baby stuff.
Right.
So I'm just trying to like give people what they want, and they love, I mean, like they love it. I have 4 adults for each one of those, and we take 20 students, and just the exploratory one's $50, and they have to bring lunch. The other ones are $60 a day.
Oh, wow.
So it's like
good.
Ridiculously affordable for, they wouldn't be able to do that, you know, for a lesson or anything like that. And then they get to ride at least 2 to 3 different animals. Wow. And then we like roll the dice for which one they're going to ride. Right. So it might be cocoa or peppercorn.
Oh, yeah.
We've got 2 palominos named KTM, and the other one's Glamour. So they're just like, oh my gosh. And then they get so excited about understanding a mule and petting their ears, and but everybody loves peppercorn. The worst confirmation in the world. That's her award.
It's okay.
She gets the award for making milk, having spots, bad confirmation.
It's okay.
You know, she's like farmer broke. You know what I'm talking about? Whenever something ain't really fancy broke, but
she is.
She doesn't do nothing right. She don't do nothing wrong.
Yep. So how do you fit the kids camps in with, you were telling me about some of your women activities that come out?
The women's things are just, that's just who I am. Yeah, they're on the weekends. Yeah. Well, we have one that I just scheduled it. I mean, I've got 3 paper planners and then 1 digital planner. And but the women's things are, the 50 plus is a Sunday through a Wednesday. They get an extra day, and it's no additional cost because they have that time off typically. Oh. And then the other ones are a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But the chicks and the sticks, we have, oh my gosh, it's kind of hard to explain all the different things, but we have the terms country tough that is trademarked, but I also trademarked Big Boss Mare. Well, Big Boss Mare is like, I make personal planners, and I do goal setting courses, and people pay to be in those. And I've started doing business coaching and some graphic design. Just, it's kind of weird how I let myself kind of go down these paths that I enjoy. But one of my Big Boss Mare productions is that all-inclusive women's event. Okay. So, and those women love those. A lot of times I'll have like a kids camp the day before, chicks in the sticks, you know, and they just love seeing those kids just have so much fun, because we play in the creek, and then I spray them off with a water hose. I mean, it is, a lot of these kids don't have that opportunity to experience
Right.
farm life.
Yep.
You know, it's always sit still, be quiet, don't get dirty. And I'm all like, oh, you can get dirty, I'll just hose you off. So,
Absolutely.
what was your childhood like? Always horses and cows?
Actually, my dad was a farmer, and cows and horses, but row crop, so Kaw River Bottom, row crop, and just driving a combine and growing trucks and that kind of thing.
What kind of grain did he grow?
Mainly corn and soybeans.
Corn and soybeans.
A little bit of wheat, but mainly corn and soybeans.
I remember corn. We had 3. My dad used to be he used to farm also, but corn 3 years in a row we had bad weather, and then it bankrupted him, and that was what ended the farming, like, because it was 3 years in a row, like boom, boom, boom.
Dang.
But before that, I know, I mean, like there's it's feast or famine in the, whenever you're growing crops, and then, boy, Mother Nature was relentless. But we were in Texas also. I mean, it can be, you know. But do you know before that, this is something weird, because you would think you would be Asian to farm rice, but no, that's like a big stereotype. Oh, yeah. No, we were massive rice farmers.
Right.
And I mean, and rice has to be in standing water. Mm-hmm. And so I remember the bulk of my childhood working in a rice field.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what people would think, they wouldn't think, oh, Brandy worked in a rice field. Like, you wouldn't put those things together. Right. But I was always having to hold levee bags, because they would have, they had to have higher dirt to keep that water in there, and you wanted to have smaller pools instead of like this big, huge pool. Right. So they would create fake pools with mounds of dirt and then could fill it up. Well, you'd have to break a hole into it to allow water to fill up the next section, and break a hole in it and let the water fill up the next section. Well, then sometimes you'd want to close them up. Well, you'd have to do that with levee bags.
I gotcha.
Yeah, so I had to hold levee bags, man. Talk about water moxicans and that was not probably like a little girl job.
Probably not, but
it was free labor.
I was going to say, and things have changed, you know.
Oh yeah, things have changed.
They have changed. I drove a truck, or I shouldn't have been driving a truck when I was 14 years old.
Oh yeah,
you did too, I'm sure. I mean, it's just what you did. Oh
yeah, you just stuff like that still happens on farms, just not on the road. But yeah. So, okay, Purina. How long have you worked for Purina?
Well, kind of like I said, when I started with Farmland and Land O'Lakes formed an LLC, and then Land O'Lakes purchased Purina in 2001. So technically, since the beginning of time, but
okay. All right.
I've been involved with them ever since they've been owned by Land O'Lakes. So prior to then, they were owned by other companies, but I've been on board with them since Land O'Lakes.
So the evolution of Purina is confusing. Oh, yeah. It's extremely confusing. I would actually probably just you would have to take like some paper towels and just start, and then for all the little branches that are in it. But one of the main things for people to understand is that Purina used to be a company, and now it's a brand of Land O'Lakes.
That's correct. It's our feed division. Purina is our brand. It's our feed division. We're very proud of it.
And so originally, or a long time ago in the 70s, it used to not be a co-op, but it was actually owned by Nestle. Mm-hmm. Okay, but now Purina does not own Nestle, or is not owned by Nestle. Now it's owned by Land O'Lakes.
Well, actually, it was Ralston Purina back in the 70s.
Ralston, okay, Purina.
And then now Nestle owns the Purina, has the right to the Purina brand, and you see that on their dog foods in the grocery stores and around and about. And then we also use the Purina brand, the checkerboard, on our livestock feeds, like the Purina horse feeds that you might be familiar with, or cattle feeds, AccuRation products, that kind of thing. So we both companies, Nestle and then Land O'Lakes, get the opportunity to use the checkerboard, which is very confusing. Two companies
is very
using
confusing.
The same logo.
Yeah, you had actually said that y'all's dog food that is now with Purina with Land O'Lakes is not allowed to use the checkerboard logo.
That's correct.
But Nestle, who does not own the current Purina, right?
Well, Nestle owns the Purina division that's pet food.
Okay, they own the Purina division as pet food.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not really following that.
Okay, so Nestle has other interests. You know, you see their products in the grocery store.
Well, then we got chocolate milk powder.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
No, I'm sorry, but I know Nestle makes all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. So and dog food is one of the items, the things that they make. And so they have the right to use that checkerboard, and we have the right to use a checkerboard, but just not on our pet food.
Okay, that's so confusing. But y'all can use a checkerboard on livestock.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It is confusing, but we have a great relationship with them, and we're very respectful and make sure that we don't put the brand anywhere we shouldn't put the brand.
Oh, most definitely. Well, you know what? With like having I tried to trademark Boss Mare.
Okay.
But I couldn't because it was too general. But I was able to trademark Big Boss Mare.
Really?
And then I was able to do a fictitious name filing the other day for Big Boss. So there are some
particulars to watch.
Very particular. And, just you don't want to ever step on anybody's toes and and you don't want to ever, people don't understand that you can get yourself in trouble real fast over trademarking and copyright laws and what is it called? Intellectual property. Something is intellectual property. So, and logos. But, a lot of people just don't understand a lot of that stuff, but it's easy to, get educated on it. You need to do a fictitious, how many people say, here's my company name, but then they can't accept a check in that name. So what that says to me is they have not done a fictitious name filing with the Secretary of State. You know how much it costs to do a fictitious name filing with the Secretary of State?
Probably not much.
$7.
Wow.
To do an LLC, you can actually do the LLCs yourself, but... and those forms are on the Secretary of State's website, or you can hire a lawyer. We have one LLC right now, and then we have trademarks, and then we also have things with fictitious name filings, but we're about to do 3 additional LLCs, just 3 different businesses, because we want to keep all of, this is part about being a Big Boss Mare. We want to keep everything just clean. It's just nice to have an account for each thing. It's just insurance wise.
Smart.
So do you have any business things to add for ladies that are wanting to get into agriculture?
I would tell you that I get, like I said, the opportunity to lead our farm consultant group in the region that I'm assigned to here in Purina, and I have quite a few young ladies working for me now. And again, 20 years ago they probably wouldn't be, but now they are. And they there's some obstacles that we deal with, but for the most part, farmers and ranchers are very receptive to the female consultant. And I would say if it's something that you're interested in doing, don't be afraid to pursue it for sure. I think it's more about your knowledge and gaining experience, and particularly work experience. That's so important because it's all about integrity and making sure that, when you're advising a horse owner or cattle rancher or whatever, that you're doing that with knowledge. Obviously we're proud of our nutrition. We have research. We have all kinds of things to back it up. But it's also about the integrity of the person that's providing the recommendation. So I have employees that run diets, run rations for people, are very comfortable doing that, and I feel confident that they're giving good advice. So I would say it's truly about you and your knowledge and your experience.
So right now I'm reading this book called Sell or Be Sold, and it talks about, so many people don't trust salespeople, and the way to combat that is to, if you say something, is be able to back it up with a third party
verification.
Third party verification. Another way to get people to gain trust in you is to write it down. So like, hey, I've done that right there. If somebody paid me cash for something and I wasn't around like our register or something, I might send them like a Facebook message that said, hey, paid $400 for this right here on this date. Thank you very much. Yes. Or, if we agreed upon, hey, if you buy 5 of these things, I'll discount it down for this right here. And here's how we did it. Here's the percentage breakdown. I just text it to them. Boom. Give it to them. Yeah. Because people will gain trust in you if you are up and up. And if you go to sell something or try to negotiate something, you don't bring paper and pen to write it down. And then it's just going to turn into, well, you said this. No, I didn't. I said that. But boy, if you've got written copy and then everybody will be like, hey, take a picture of this. This is what we agreed upon. Yeah. So, sometimes there's hurdles that we have to overcome. And this is not just for women. This is for everybody. Right. But, boy, the more that you can be just crystal clear and give them, people love to have proof of what you said, and people believe things that are written.
They do.
Yeah, sometimes that's bad. Sometimes that can be bad. You just have to make sure that you look at the source.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of times when I'm working with my sales team, too, we look at social styles and really coach our team to how to adapt to different people and their social styles and understand. It's more than just empathy. It's understanding what motivates somebody else. So obviously trust is huge, and we have to earn the trust, but we have to also discover, ask questions, build trust, build the relationship, and then service it. And that's all about professionalism and integrity and everything you've talked about there. But there, to your point, there's some people that insist on having a written proposal, and there's other people that are more expressive and just aren't as detail oriented or good. But that text that says, hey, I took 10% off when you bought 5. Right. Oh, okay, that's cool. I got it here. I'm holding on to it. I feel good about it. So it works, for both. Now, the analytical might go, I want to know what each item cost, and I want to know exactly what came off of each item, whatever. But you know what I mean. It's I really emphasize that with my team a lot, and to really understand when they walk away from somebody, to understand them as a person.
Right. So, you know what, just having different clients with y'all having to understand each, what did you say? Oh, I'm thinking like social class, but it's not really social class.
Social style.
Social style is what you'd said. You know what, like my husband's business, he has this thing where he's basically it's a wood shop, but he sends them all the pieces, and then we've written a curriculum based on national school standards, okay? And then broken it down for even like middle school level and high school level. But, and then we also sell things that are just like a wooden puzzle that they can do. So we have like the just single purchase, and then we have part of like the educational series, okay? Well, we have went and done presentations about these things at different things called like 1 Million Cups is a group for entrepreneurs, and then we've done presentations at different chambers of commerce, and then we've done different we've been vendors at different things. But one thing that was recommended to us, like we actually print the instructions and have photos with just the main things. If there's something like, hey, make sure you don't break the tail right here, you need to hang it off of the table, right? Because if you push too hard, you might break the tail of this puzzle. But we have the written instructions. Well, then we had somebody else that said, hey, can you do a YouTube video of the single purchase things, like the educational things have videos, and we send them links to the videos to build with my husband. But the other one just wanted like a visual also that's in video. So we're like, okay, we did not plan on doing that, but it was just a different age group.
I see.
And then we had the older people in the room were like, oh, we prefer a paper copy. And then they even said that Legos don't even give you paper instructions anymore. They give you a QR code to scan. Well, then the parents are like, that's great because you never lose it. But then they say it's awful because they lose their phone to their kids because their kids are trying to build the stuff. So so some of the parents were like, I love that it's paper instructions so I don't lose my phone. And then some of the children that were like, I don't know, 15-ish, whatever, were happy to have just a video, like a shortened version. We had to, just on a puzzle, have different levels for people.
Wow.
You know, and like, so I understand
different expectations.
Yeah, well, they've got different learning styles, but now we include all of them. And then people are like, wow, you've done all of this. And we're like, well, we're trying to listen. Yeah. You know, we're trying to listen to what people need, what they need, because if they need it, somebody else does. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
All right, so what do you feed your horses?
Actually, I feed a product called Impact Professional Performance, which is a relatively newer product of ours. I believe it's been out 5 or 6 years, but you know what? It takes a while for people to catch on. I swear every week I mention that to somebody and they say, I've never heard of that. So Impact Professional is a line of ours. Impact Professional Performance is similar to our Ultium product. It's a little bit different in the formula, less calories per pound, but feeds very similar. No corn byproducts. But I love it, and I recommend it a lot. People are like, how does that work for your performance horse and work for my mare, my trail horse and everything? But it's just good, sound nutrition, and it's a fantastic product that's offered through our dealer line. So here's another thing to confuse you. So
okay, all right, I'm ready.
Well, you know, we talked about this Purina 4-square logo that can you know, the pet food cabacle. Well, the Impact Professional line is a line that's only offered at our local independent Purina dealers. So our like a Tractor Supply, that's a great customer of ours. They don't sell Impact Professional Performance. So if I have a client that's looking at that product, I've got to find out where their local dealer is and steer them that way. And it's just I hate to use the terminology house brand, because sometimes that has a negative connotation, which it shouldn't. But it's our house brand, and a brand that we're really proud of, because we formulate it right alongside of our national brands that people are familiar with. But no, that's what I feed, and I love it. So
okay, I kind
of
like that.
You're thinking, I've never heard of it.
No, what I'm thinking is that I love that you can only get it from the small guys and not the big guys. That's what I think, because, I mean, we're a small guy. Yeah. I mean, we have 40 RV sites. You know, we have 25 miles of trail. I mean, but compared to other facilities, some people won't even come here because they're like 25 miles. And then, but the clients that we service are like,
25 miles.
25 miles. And you got a covered arena? And then, but other people are like, it's covered, it's not enclosed. And I'm all like, you know, like, make one payment on it and then you can complain about it. Okay, make one payment. How about make half a payment? Okay. And then I'll listen to you.
Yep.
All right. So if they wanted to get in touch with you, or if they had just questions in general about Purina, or if somebody wanted to who would talk to you? Who would you like to talk to you?
Well, first off, I mean, depends on where you are located. You know, if you're in Hawaii, you know, I would really suggest you go to our website, purinamills.com, and put your zip code in, and that's going to get you in touch with somebody. You'll see a local Purina dealer come up, and, you know, sources that way. On all of our bags, we have an 800 number, which shoots you to our lovely ladies in St. Louis, and then they can run it right back out to us. They can see where you're calling from, and we'll call you. I mean, it seems so simple, but like we put that number on the bag of feed, and they call, you know, Beverly in St. Louis, and she's like, oh, you're in Sarah's area. I'll just have her call you. And it's that simple. Who knew, right?
Oh, man, do you know, I can put some simple instructions out there for people, and I'm all like, I mean, I've had people ask me things, and I've literally screenshot what was in like the social media post and sent it to them. They're like, oh, thank you. And I'm all like, oh, Lord. Drive me nuts a little bit. But that's so cool that they'll just like figure out who's in the area and give them a call. Yeah, like that's really humble and like personal.
Yeah, we try to be. I mean, again, we haven't always done that. And it's probably been I think that whole process has probably been in place 5 or 6 years, and it's been a blessing for sure. So,
well, I know whenever I call to speak with someone, or if I take the time to call a company, I want to talk to someone, and I don't want to have issues understanding. I just want to talk. I mean, and I have got a vast experience level with different accents. You know what I mean? But I just want to be able to talk to a person instead of push 1, push 7, push 13.
And you're screaming, operator, customer service rep, please.
So purinamills.com. Okay, so this Purina training that y'all do, when is that? Do you know, isn't that like don't y'all train people also? Do some educational things for people, or selective?
Well, we train our employees. We have certain curriculum on that. We have training for our dealers. We used to have horse owner workshops. Remember that back in the day? And that was training. That was more, trying
outreach,
horse owners, education that way. So, I feel like I educate every day because I get to ride with my sales folks, and I get on farms and just learn a lot from farmers and ranchers and horse owners and everything else.
So if somebody wanted to know which kind of feed they should be feeding, they can just contact Purina Mills?
Yep.
Okay.
They can, and then again, they would put them in contact with somebody within Purina or a local dealer that's in their area, and hopefully we get you steered in the right direction. Our website's pretty powerful, but I'm like you. I'd like to talk to people.
Right. I drive people nuts with that because a lot of people want to text, and I would rather talk in person. I would rather meet someone in person, and like our wedding venue and stuff, we've got photos, but seeing it in person, we always hear, wow, it's so much bigger in person. I'm an in-person kind of lady, All right, so this was Sarah Leonhard, and thank you for tuning in to Big Boss Mare with Brandy Von Holten.